And finally reached the end of season 3. This episode is better, yes sir. Much better than the last one. Lots to talk about. Tiki-taki, let's go. Jesus Christ. Shit falling off this. I moved it so I can cook my pizza because it's right next to the oven. Nice. Steel books fell down. Hey. Oh, hold on. Really? I was goofing around with this earlier. In the last episode, I was goofing around with it. Right? Alright. I pretended it was a golf club. So, we have finally reached the conclusion to Season 3. Season 3, Episode 22. Covenant. Yes. The season finale. And what I think could be the reason why I decided to watch this show. Sure, I watched those two, right? But I didn't keep watching the next couple weeks. I finally decided to go back and watch. Or maybe they were airing it, they aired those two, and because it's so close, they had to air the finale. But they aired this. I saw the finale when they re-aired this just before. Because shows will do that. They'll re-air the previous finale just before. At least they used to. They don't do that much anymore. But they used to. They air the reruns. Nowadays, the networks will get new shows for the summer and switch them around. So they're playing new stuff all year round. But they used to play reruns during the summer times. On the channels. And so they would play the previous finale so you could refresh yourself and, get ready to watch the new season. So I think this was really the one, okay, I gotta watch next week. Figure out what the hell happens, right? Because this season ends with a bang. Literally, a bang. There's an explosion. So, with Lionel facing a prison sentence, everything marches towards the finale of this season with that in mind, but also a mysterious woman claiming to be Kara. Yes, we'll get to that. Shows up and wants Clark to come with her, to see Jor-El. Where he's supposed to. And says that his friends will betray him. Okay, first and foremost, Pete is not in this episode. The last episode was his goodbye. If I may, it's not really a goodbye, though. He's just like, Clark, I'm moving with my mom to Wichita. A big hug, and then he's gone. Doesn't show up again until season 7. It's just, I don't know, they didn't have a place for him in the finale, so they had to write him out there. Speaking of this, I looked up who directed was the episode? Memoria. Miles Miller, one of the creators of Smallville, directed that episode. That was a really good episode, Miles. And to no surprise, Gregory Beeman directed this episode. Greg Beeman. And here is a surprise. John Schneider directed Talisman, which is probably why he's not really in the episode. Isn't that the episode where they said he was... No, he's in the episode. What was the episode where they said he was getting his treatments? Was it that one? Or was it the one before? I don't know. But, yeah, so... First and foremost, Kara. Okay? First of all, we see this woman, played by Adrienne Palicki, by the way, who is the second actor to go from here to Supernatural. The first, of course, being Tamahal Pinkett, who would play Gadriel in season 9 of Supernatural. But Adrian Pileggi is probably more famous because she plays Jessica, Sam's ill-fated girlfriend who gets the same death as his mother. I'm sure there was others that I just looked past and didn't realize, but So, Kara shows up. And again, if I was going through the show for the first time, I would say you don't need to show Kara before he's Superman. I'll come back to this. Put a pin. I'll come back to this when we get to season 7. Trust me. I'll come back to this. Because this is not Kara. She's a girl named Lindsay. So, they bring her in. She's butt-ass naked. And Clark's don't open the door. He's like... Now, keep in mind, you don't know that this is not Kara. So you're thinking, dude! It's your cousin! Knock it off! But it's not. She shows up butt naked. She doesn't drink the tea, but she gets some Asian tea from Jonathan, who brings the mug to Chloe to run fingerprints because she has a fingerprint guy, apparently. And then there's a continuity issue when she does this, but she brings them the mug and says that it's a missing persons case. We find out that actually her name is Lindsay. She was 16 and she disappeared on the day of the meteor shower. She hasn't aged a day, so it's not Carol. But anyway, a lot of stuff in this episode. Lex is, waiting for the approaching trial of his father. But he's convinced he's going to be able to get out of it, But, because he keeps pleading his innocence, so he didn't do it. Well, we know he did it. We know he did. There's no ambiguous nature here for us, because he told Chloe that he did it while she had the truth powers. So he did it. But now he's just doing this to save face with the public. I'm an innocent man. It's no new thing for an innocent man to be behind bars. You're so full of shit, Lionel. You're so full of shit. You're full of shit. Anyway, so Lex is and that, and Lionel's trying to do everything he can to sort of get out of this. Right? Turns out Loader is still on the case to try to find out more about Clark. And Kara, or Lindsay, overhears him and fucking kills him with the power that we've never seen before, where she just grabs the car and then explodes into a flame. Not a very good effect, but the gag reel has a worse unrendered effect to it, but so Loader's dead. I wonder what happened to him. We don't see him again, so because he's deep. Even brings in, I like the scene where Lex walks in and they're talking and he's trying to dissuade him by, trying to be sympathetic and talking like that. And then Lex is like, it's a nice try, Dad, but, the whole thing. And even, when Chloe talks to him later, she's like, if you don't want to go through this, he goes, because she tells him about his liver failure diagnosis, and he's like, my father's going to die behind bars. He's going to see him go behind bars, But Lionel invites Clark there and gives him a key. It's a key that unlocks the door on the 3rd floor of the mansion, which is the room where Lex keeps all his secret stuff. Now, yes, there are two sides here. On one hand, yes, he's been keeping this a secret from Clark. On the other hand, I believe Lex when he says it's not about Clark anymore. There's a meteor rock, which he knows was look at the stuff that's there. There's a meteor rock there, right? Which he knows was the cause of his high white blood cell count. Nothing to do with Clark. There's a picture of Clark there. That's because Clark saved him. And you see the little computer footage of the crash. Also, something he survived. There is the little worm thing from the caves, which I don't know why that's there because it has no connection to him. It's just an Easter egg. So everything in that room can be connected to him in some way, shape, or form, as well as Clark. But Clark sees this as betrayal and says that they're no longer friends. This friendship is over, which I do feel is a little hasty in a way. It's just like, okay, why are we doing this now? Yeah. He still shows up, but he's late to pick up Lana, who he's supposed to take to the airport so she can go to France. But Lex is there and says goodbye to her, and Clark does show up. We get a pretty good scene of he's standing there and she sees him, but then once you do the thing where the car passes and he's gone, which makes sense for him because he's a super power, he's speed. She finds the white rose, and we know that she goes to Paris. Rant number 1. Here we go. I've been teasing it. In my opinion, she should have stayed gone. Kristen Cruick should have left the show at this point. I know everyone needs a job. I don't want to wish, getting fired or anything. But this should have been her exit. I know Pete leaves. I know we get another supposed death at the end of this. But I wouldn't have minded if Lana left the show. And here's why. I've noticed so much this season. They have just counted on her to be this character that comes to Clark, or Clark comes to, she goes to Clark. They're doing it, well, they want their thing. But they depend way too much on it. So much, almost every episode ends with a scene between the two of them. And it's really starting to show. And it's really starting to bug me. If they got rid of her, I think they should have moved forward with more stories. I said this should have been a 5 or 6 season show, and they could have done that. Move on, right? Bring back Alicia, which they do, but have her be a recurring character. Kept Pete, because he needs someone who knows power. Spoiler alert, Chloe supposedly dies in the end of this. Keep her dead. She's not really needed anymore, right? We already mentioned her cousin, Lois Lane. So that's already put forward, right? And like I said, you don't want Lois Lane to be a character. She does show up in season 4. But if you're going to bring Lois in, bring her in for that arc, trying to figure out what happened to Chloe. And whether Chloe is dead or not, once that story is done, have her go back to Metropolis. Have her say, you know what? Chloe was a pretty good reporter. In the spirit of my cousin, I'm going to try to do the same. That sort of thing. So you can say, oh, they technically met, but didn't spend enough time together. Because I feel like Superman lore is ruined by the fact that they have these characters. Like, Lex Luthor is supposed to go in to Superman barely knowing Clark, which they do eventually, and they cheat it. Well, when we finally get to that, the series from now, we're going to have to say. But I just feel like if Lana leaves, Chloe dies, bring back Alicia as another character who knows her secret. Keep Pete, right? The FBI guy is gone now. He's dead. So Pete is pretty much safe now with Loader dead. So, you come back. And the three of them could have been this team throughout the next couple seasons, And like I said before, I would have had it start in the junior year, and this could be the graduation. And so that's why people are leaving. The graduation happened, and Lana's going to Paris, sort of thing. But that's not what they do. Don't get me wrong, season 4 is a pretty good season, all things considered. But yeah, it's just Lana should have stayed gone, because she even says in a previous episode, I don't want anything bringing me back here. And she doesn't. But the writers figure out a way to bring her back, and I feel like they just could have left her there. Even the character that she brings with her, Jason Ackles' character, could have been written in as an old friend of Lex's, come in that avenue. He and Lex could have had some kind of, they're around the same age. He and Lex could have had, he's actually younger than Lex, actually. Because Jensen Ackles is in his late 40s. Jensen Ackles is in his late 40s. Mike Rosenbaum is in his early 50s, 51. So, So the thing is, okay, if you let Lana go, bring in Jason, the Jason character, as an old friend of Lex's. Maybe, now that he's not friends with Clark anymore, the guy comes in as the teacher, and he's secretly working with Lex to kind of spy on Clark. Maybe there's something else going on there. Because his dad's in prison, so he can't piggyback off of him anymore. Chloe's in the wind. She's dead, so he can't use. There's no Pete. But my version, Pete would still be there, and Alicia would come back. Kira did not still assist like I do. Anyway, yeah. I'm just saying. But we're not done talking about the episode yet, because we get an honestly beautifully done final cliffhanger musical session. It's like classical music mixed with Lionel getting his beautiful mane buzzed off in prison. Because, Clark does show up. He does get convicted, supposedly. Cleaning off his hair. And during this, we get the cliffhanger. So, it turns out that Kara's not Kara, it's Lindsay. And so, no longer needed, Jor-El, for lack of a better term, kills her. She's gone, disappears, right? And then he strangles Jonathan to the point where he passes out. And then, he's like, let him go and I'll come with you. So he does. And we other cliffhangers such as Lex going for a drink, finding out it's poison. Chloe, like I said, there's a continuity error here because Chloe delivers that thing to Jonathan. And then in one of the very next scenes, she shows up at the safe house with her father. How did she get to the location quick enough to get there and then get to the... I don't know. Because her little car is not there. I don't know. But they walk in and the thing explodes. And I know what the explanation is for the next season, and I still somehow don't buy it. We'll get to it when I get to season 4. Probably next year. It'll be 2024, season 4. Which will be actually be the 20-year anniversary of it. I'm not waiting until September to do it, or October. Anyway, Martha is reacting to something, which turns out to be the field on fire with a Kryptonian symbol, the one on the... that was on the little key fob thingy that Clark had earlier, in Relic. And Lex collapses, falls through a glass table. First of all, how practical are glass tables? I feel like this will be very breakable. I don't know. I have a little glass one to put my TV on, but that's about it. I wouldn't have an actual glass table. That couldn't be practical. I'm afraid that thing's gonna break one of these days. It's old. My grandma's, so it's old. My grandma's. And then Chloe explodes. Lex is poisoned. Martha sees the fire in the thing, and then he gets his head buzzed. He's like, "Thank you." I mean, you think, oh no. And then we see butt-ass naked Clark in this dark void with Jor-El saying, "You are come home, Colin," or something. And that's how it ends. And I think that this cliffhanger, it's very well done. I think this is what told me, okay, I gotta start watching this show to see what goes on. Unfortunately, I did lose cable, so I wasn't able to finish. There was a certain point in season 4 where I stopped watching because we lost cable. But I was watching. There it is. The end of season 4. And I got my Lana rant out of the way. She should have been gone. It had been way too much on her in this season for wrap-up stuff. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. But this was pretty well done. I'm going to give it 4. Let's do 4.5. 4.5 Superman logos out of 5. So there you go. So, there it is. The end of the season. Like I said, I'll get to season 4 in 2024 at some point. I got a video I'm going to be doing later on this week that's going to detail what I'm doing in the next year. Some new stuff coming. Some old stuff coming back. But I know it's Smallville for now. I will come back. I need a little bit of a break. So, what are your thoughts on this episode and season 3 as a whole? Then comes below, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty. This is. And I'll see you in the next one.